back to the Takeover, everyone. I'm so excited for you to join us here today, and I'm excited about this new season of the Takeover. This is season 2. We're kicking it off today with this episode, and today we're going to do a solo cast. So a solo cast is a little bit of a departure from what we typically do on the Takeover. So what we typically do, if you're listening to the show and you're new, is we typically interview somebody from the industry. So this can be a marketing or sales or technology expert, thought leader, and sometimes I have my dad on the show as well. But today we're going to have just a conversation between you and I about the issue of shipping for e-commerce. So we're going to talk about different shipping methods for our e-commerce website. And this is a typical question that I get a lot from our clients here at SpinStack. So we're going to tackle this issue today. But first, before I get into the meat of that, I want to just bring you up to speed a little bit about what we're doing and some of the changes that we've made around here. So you'll notice that the set's different, right? The setup is different here if you're watching on video on YouTube or Facebook. So things are a little bit different about the way that we're setting up. We're going with a little more down and dirty, more of a podcast-centric setup. So we were much more video-centric last time for the first season, and we tried to make it more like a talk show style, and I enjoyed it, and I thought it was great, and I don't regret going that direction at all. I thought it was fantastic, and we got a lot of great feedback. But heading into 2019, what I'm trying to do is just focus more on the podcast and making sure that the quality of the sound is better. And so that's one of the reasons why I've kind of isolated myself. I'm in my office here, which is a great space, very quiet, very small room. And so I've centered everything around really the audio quality. So you might even be able to tell that the audio, my voice is probably coming through a lot clearer because I got these nice microphones. So it should be really, really great. And really just investing continually in trying to educate my customer base, but not just that, but the industry in general. I hope to add a lot of value in this next season with the Takeover. I hope to have some really great guests. The focus is all going to be around the issue of driving innovation and change and driving technological advancements in your traditional business. So a lot of what we're going to be doing in 2019 is really trying to encourage you guys to make the turn to making innovative changes in your traditional supply business. So a lot of talk out there about disruption in the distribution channels, and we're going to tackle that. And we're going to talk about best ways to combat that and really start building something that will stand the test of time. So let me just start by saying that this topic of e-commerce or this topic of shipping for e-commerce, it's a very complicated issue. You may not realize it for industrial suppliers. Okay, so if we were just selling T-shirts, online through our e-commerce website, if we're an online T-shirt retailer, it's a lot easier for us if that was our job, right? Because these T-shirts are all going to weigh the exact same thing. They're all the exact same size. It's very easy for us to calculate shipping, and we could even do free shipping because we know how much it is going to be, so we just build that into our price, and very simple for us to do that. But one of our challenges is that we don't just sell shirts. We don't just sell one type of product. We sell literally thousands of SKUs. Everything from the lightweight, like pair of glasses or a case of safety eyewear. That's very lightweight, high-vis vests, all the way to things like power tools, which can weigh 20, 30, 40 pounds even, So there's a lot of variation in the product types that we sell. And that causes a real headache for us as online retailers. And I'm sure that some of you you've discovered that this is a pain point because once you go out there and you start selling this, you're losing a lot of orders because folks look at your shipping. Let's say you have some sort of automatic shipping calculator, and a lot of times that shipping rates can be very, very high. It might cause you to lose the order. And on the flip side, you may get the order, but you've undercalculated the amount of shipping or freight needed for the product order, and you end up getting burned and you lose all the margin on the order. So it's like better for you just not even to sell online. And a lot of you have experienced that, and you've kind of decided, well, just e-commerce is probably just not going to be right for my business. And we got to think about creatively around ways around this, right? So today I want to offer basically 3 ways for us to tackle the issue of shipping and freight for our e-commerce website if we're an industrial supplier. It's a little bit different, okay? So, and I'm sure this could be applicable to a lot of different types of distributors who are selling, a wide variety of things, HVAC distributors or, electronic distributors. These are all kind of applicable to you guys as well if you're listening. So let me just say that the first way, I'm going to go the easiest way, and then I'm going to go the hardest way, and then at the end, I'm going to finish with what I think is the best method. So one of the easiest ways to handle freight is to just do what we call a flat rate. Okay, so a flat rate is either free. So the most common way of doing a flat rate is to do free shipping. So if you do free shipping across the board, it doesn't matter what I order. Maybe there's a minimum order. Maybe you have to order at least $100 worth of merchandise. If I don't order $100 worth of merchandise or equipment, what will happen is I'll get charged a flat rate. So that could be, I don't know, $24.99, $12.99. It could be really anything depending on what it is, what your average order value is, and what your average shipping and freight charges are. So that's really the most popular way. And, I think that's a great method, but I do think that it opens us up for getting burned on some items as well. So if we only did free shipping, so if we did free shipping on orders over $100, for example, and, they buy a couple, let's just say a couple of power tools, and the weight on that thing is like 60 pounds to ship those boxes or ship that box out. And, the freight ends up costing us like $60 because, we did 2-day shipping and it's like $60 freight. And we did free shipping on this, and our margin on the product was already pretty low so that we could be competitive. Well, at this point, by the time we handle that freight charge, we've pretty much lost our entire margin on the product. In some cases, we may even be paying for the privilege of shipping that customer that order. So that's not good. Okay, that's not what we were hoping for. So another way of doing this is to, and I would say like that's sort of the easy button, but it like I said, it works so much that's why you see it everywhere. Okay, every e-commerce site that you go to, it's all, everyone's offering free shipping, right? So just order over $50 or $100 and you get free shipping, and that's great for them. But it doesn't work that great for our industry. So let me tell you about sort of the hardest method, and what can also be one of the best methods, and that is to have a shipping calculator. So there's a lot of plugins out there that we can use with our existing e-commerce site, depending on what kind of platform you're working with. But most platforms are going to be able to integrate some sort of shipping software on top of what you're already running to fulfill your orders. So this shipping calculator, the way it works is it's completely dependent on good data. Okay, so as you can probably imagine, this is where it gets difficult, right? Because we're working with so many products, and because a lot of times the manufacturers, so the data debate, we're always pointing fingers back and forth. If you're a manufacturer, you're pointing your finger at the distributor saying, well, they don't take my data and they don't publish it correctly, and they're not putting the time to get that stuff on the website. And if you're a distributor, you're complaining that, well, my manufacturer, they don't provide the data in the way that I need it, so it's too much work. Or sometimes they don't even have the kind of information that I need to be able to sell online. You'd be surprised that many manufacturers today do not have the necessary data for online retailers. So they don't have shipping dimensions and weight. And so really that's what this third not the third, but this is the second, the more difficult method. This is what that really depends on, is we need to understand, the software needs to understand the dimensions and the weight of every product so it can accurately give us a shipping estimate. Now, a shipping estimate is fantastic because if we have that, we are guaranteed not to lose our margin on an order. So we can be, so that what that shipping calculator allows us to do is we can be much more competitive on the price. Okay, so we can actually we can go do some homework and we can look at our top competitor websites and we can find out what they're selling these products at, and we can drop it down a notch. Okay, we can drop it just underneath theirs so that we can get that deal. We get the deals. We get the orders that from the buyers that are looking at price as a primary factor for their purchasing decision, which that is fantastic. And I know there's a few that have figured how to do this, and it doesn't come without a tremendous amount of work and investment, but it is worth it 100% if you could do this. So what does this look like? This looks like investing and spending money on data. You have to first collect the data from the manufacturer and then format it and publish it on your website and move that data, put that data in a place where we can use it for that shipping calculator, and then bring that information into our ERP system so that we can calculate the cost and the margin on that particular order. That by far and away is the right way of doing it. So what some people are going to say is they're going to say, well, why don't you recommend that to be your number one way of doing shipping for e-commerce, Matt? And I would say it's because it's just not as realistic. If I'm honest, if I'm a small to medium sized industrial distributor, that's not the most realistic method of going by handling shipping. So we are going to talk about the most realistic method, what I think is the best method for the vast majority of the distributors who might be listening to the show. But before we do that, we're just going to take a quick break. I'm going to grab a drink of water, and we're going to take a word from our sponsors. We live in a time of continual disruption to the industrial supply chain, from tariffs and trade wars to the Amazon effect on buying behavior, not to mention the internal challenges you face trying to navigate new technology, recruiting, educating, and empowering your team. These are real concerns for small to medium-sized industrial suppliers. They keep you up at night, and they threaten your mission to provide for your family, your employees, and ultimately to build a legacy that stands the test of time. I've been there. My family's business has worked with independent distributors for over 40 years. SpinStack was founded as an answer to the challenges our peers and partners faced with big box competition, changing technology, and rapid consolidation. Today, we offer 3 simple but powerful services that help industry Davids defeat Goliath. They are e-commerce, printed catalogs, and inbound marketing. Our e-commerce solution for distributors has been developed by over 15 years of hands-on experience, listening and adapting to the changing needs of our clients. We offer personalized B2B and B2C website design, development, hosting, and maintenance. We also believe in the power of beautiful print. SpinStack started by curating product content from the industry's top suppliers. We combined that product database with an airtight production process that makes printed catalogs of every shape and size available and affordable to the masses. Finally, we kept our finger on the pulse of digital marketing best practices by teaming up with HubSpot to provide marketing automation, lead generation, and nurturing strategies. Regardless of where you're at in your industrial supply journey, our energetic team has the experience and know-how to guide you to a bright future filled with opportunities to grow. Put your fears to rest and conquer the moment today by scheduling a consultation with the industry's most recognized agency. If you're ready to grow, let's go. All right, welcome back. So we're talking about the issue of calculating shipping and freight for our e-commerce website. And we have already gone over 2 of the methods. The first method being the flat rate model, right? So the flat rate model is, over $100. I give free shipping, or between, under $100, I have a flat rate, $12.99, covers the majority of my shipping costs. or at least a portion of it, right? So that's the first method. The second method, which I said is much more difficult, but has a much higher return, and really is, at the end of the day, it's the right way to do shipping, is to use a shipping calculator, to use a software, a plugin, and to go out and mine the data from our manufacturers about the dimensions and the weight of the products that we're selling, so that we can use that to calculate a really accurate shipping estimate, and then we can be more competitive on the pricing, which allows us at the end of the day to win more orders. So those are the first two methods, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think is really the most realistic method, the the one that I recommend for 95% of industrial distributors that I talk to, and that is a shipping matrix. A shipping matrix, I don't like that word, shipping matrix, right? But it's not as, it's not as cool as it sounds. It's just really just a table, right? A shipping table that allows us to, so this is basically more of a complex version of the flat rate model. Okay, so what I mean by that is, what we'll do is we'll create the shipping table, and we'll use the primary way of doing this is to use order value. So we take our order value, our total order value, and we assign it a flat rate. Okay, and so what we'll do is for orders from $0 to $50, we're going to charge a flat rate of $6.99. And for orders $51 to $100, we're going to charge a flat rate of $14.99. And from orders $100 to $200, we're going to charge a flat rate of $25.99 or whatever. Okay, I'm just throwing these numbers out there. The way that you come up with those numbers, by the way, is you go back and you do some spot checking on historical orders that you've shipped, and you look at the order value, so the total revenue of the order, and then you look at the shipping costs, and you do a little cost study. So you figure out which of these orders, when did we make good margin, and what was the rate on that shipping, okay? And you do some averaging, right? This is not going to be perfect, and believe me, I don't recommend going out and looking at every single order for the last 2-3 years. I just want you to spot check it so that you can tell which of those orders were the ideal type of orders, and then average that out, and you'll come up with that shipping number, that flat rate number for the level of the order size. Okay, I hope I'm making this clear. I hope it's not too complicated. But basically what we can do is we can make it as simple or as complex as we want, that shipping matrix. We can go in, $10 increments or $50 increments or $100 increments. And we're going to get close. Okay. We're not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect like the shipping calculator method, but it's going to be pretty good. Okay. And it's going to balance out. Some orders you're going to win, and you're going to even have better margin. Some orders you're going to lose, and your margin will go, chisel down a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's going to average out pretty well. Okay. Now, here's one caveat to the shipping matrix that I'm going to throw in there, is that you have to go through your catalog, your online collection of products, and you need to go through this, and you need to think to yourself, which of these products that, if ordered, are going to kind of break my shipping matrix, okay? So some of them are going to break it completely, and we don't want to be surprised and hit blindsided by that when we get the order, okay? Because that could be painful, okay? For example, let's just say somebody orders a bucket of salt or a bucket of, concrete mix or something. I don't even know. We're selling so many crazy things on our websites these days, but let's just say something really heavy, right? And it's cheap. Okay. So, we know we have a client out in Wyoming, RMI. Hey guys, if you're listening, but it's freezing cold out there. And you know what they sell a ton of, guys? Rock salt to salt the roads. So that is selling salt, for example. If they were to put that on the website and they were to use the standard shipping matrix, and the shipping on that would, let's just say they had to ship it out of state, and it's like a $12 bucket of salt, that shipping is going to be 3 times the cost of the actual product. So that is an example of a product that breaks our shipping matrix. And there's all kinds of examples out there. Heavier items, like the power tools, the wrenches, the big, drill bits, the fall protection equipment, confined space equipment. All of these things are going to be items that, they're going to be, some of them are going to be pricey, but some of them aren't going to be enough to make sense for us to use the flat rate on our shipping matrix. So what we're going to do in that situation is we're going to create rules, okay? And our platform allows you to do this, and others allow you to do this as well. And you basically create like exceptions to the rule, right? So the rule is $1 to $50 this rate, $50 to $100 this rate, $100 to $200 this rate, etc. But there's always exceptions to the rule, and so these can be exceptions to the rule. And we just say, listen, when the customer checks out, hey, this is a bigger item, and we're going to charge you more. And so then you create a special price for those items. Now, this is, I think, a much more realistic, manageable way of handling shipping. If you're just a small distributor, you don't have a team of data people that are going to go out there and maintain really accurate dimensions and weight on all of these equipment. So this is I think a manageable thing for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to pay attention to these orders. So what I tell our clients is that when you maybe on a monthly basis, you're going to take a look at all of those online orders, right? And you're gonna spot check those orders. I know you guys are busy. You don't have time to go through every single one, but spot check those orders, and let's find out, are our shipping rates that we have in our matrix or our flat rate, is it working for us? And if not, let's go back and make some changes so that the next month we get better, and the next month we get better and better, and over time we can start building a really accurate shipping matrix with all kinds of exceptions, which are going to help us handle those orders in the freight, and at the end of the day, help us make more money and add that money to our bottom line. So that's basically my thoughts on shipping, handling freight for e-commerce, specifically if you're an industrial supplier. This is really important information. I will say that at the end of the day, as we're kind of closing the thoughts here and we're wrapping up on time, at the end of the day, it's got to be about your customer. Okay. So many of us will go out there and we'll build this website, and we don't think about how it affects the customer, what our customer really wants, and what they really care about. Okay. So one of the ways, an example is you don't want to go to the extreme and, for example, build the shipping calculator and build the tool and put all the data, all that work into the database and collecting that information. If at the end of the day, 99% of your customers are within a 50-mile radius, and they stop by and they pick up their orders, or you drop it off at their locations, obviously that doesn't make sense. We wouldn't do that. If your customers are all spread out all over the place, and your customers are really small businesses, the more of a B2C type customer, they're buying products all over the place, they're not loyal, they just want to get what they're looking for at the best rate as quickly as possible, then yeah, I think if that's who you're going after, then I think you need to build that really competitive price model along with the shipping calculator so that you can maintain acceptable margins. And so, it really comes back to it, and you'll hear me say this again and again in this season, because we're really going to take a focus on building for the customer. Every important decision we make involves the customer. How is it going to affect them? What do they want? What type of customer are we serving? And then we build and we make adjustments to our e-commerce channel according to that. Well, guys, it's been great getting back in here. I'm excited. It's so great to sit in here and talk to you guys about these things. I just want to remind you that as we head into this new year, a lot of you guys are still batting this idea around of building that e-commerce channel, and you're just kind of you're kind of thinking about, well, it's a lot of work and it's very challenging and I don't have the time or the budget for it. But I just want to encourage you that we have a really affordable, brand new e-commerce solution for industrial distributors. We made it specifically for you guys. And we have an entire program that helps you get off the ground, helps you make sense of the entire project, and we teach you how to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So if you are interested in learning more about that, I just invite you to come visit the website at spinstack.com and schedule a consultation. And of course, you guys can always reach me at matt@thetakeoverpodcast.com. Happy to speak with you guys. And until next time, have a great one. I'll catch you on the next episode of The Takeover.